Hey everyone and welcome to another Let's Max Halo, where we're taking a look at the latest offering from the Covenant, and that is the Needler. The signature weapon belonging to Khora, and that's the Hystrix. Now the Hystrix is a fully automatic secondary weapon with the ability to switch elemental damage on the fly using the secondary fire button. This also affects the base stats very slightly as well. With the fire and electricity shots, they have 40 damage a shot. The vast majority of that is puncture with very little impact and slash, and then the poison and ice shots only have 36.1 base damage, but very similar splits in the physical damage type breakdown. Thankfully, the rest of the stats remain the same: 24% crit chance, 220% critical damage multiplier. That works really nicely with the super strength pistol crit mods to make a crit build work incredibly well, and although 10% status doesn't look like much, stick a couple of dual stat mods on, take multi-shot into account, you are going to be proccing reasonably often still, so a hybrid crit and status build is going to work well. The supporting stats of the weapon tell a story though. 16 round magazine with 7 rounds per second fire rate means that you're going to be emptying your magazine pretty quickly and regularly, especially when you put lethal torrent on there, which is a mandatory mod pretty much. That wouldn't be that much of a problem though, but the 1.7 second reload does make that feel slightly clunky, and feel like you're spending half your mission reloading your weapon. In fact, with lethal torrent on there, it actually takes you less time to empty your magazine than it does to reload it. It's also not very accurate at all at long range, so you might miss a fair shots at range when you don't really have that many in the magazine though. Can be slightly frustrating. So the way the elemental switching works actually is very simple. It just gives you a guaranteed proc of that elemental type. So the poison dart is going to give you a poison proc on every single shot, for example, but there's no combination of that element with another mod on your weapon. If you're using a poison dart with electricity on your weapon, it's not going to combine to give you a corrosive proc. It works though very nicely to either have the damage from the toxin proc, or crowd control of electricity, heat or cold procs, and can help stack your condition overload very quickly. Now, the build I ended up going with was a standard crit pistol build, to be honest. For Formers, Hornet Strike on there, Barrel Diffusion for base damage and multi-shot, Lethal Torrent for fire rate and more multi-shot, Prime Pistol Gambit and Prime Target Cracker for crit chance and crit damage, 2 dual stat elementals, in this case I've got Corrosive on here for armor stripping, and then one final slot which is pretty much yours to do whatever you want with. I went with Sharpened Bullets for the extra crit damage when we get a kill. You could also go with Hydraulic Crosshairs for more crit chance and make it crit more reliably. Another 90% elemental mod to combine either into the main elemental combo or to be its own proc on its own. Auger Pact even works pretty well on here, to be honest. I went with Sharpened Bullets because I felt this killed well enough that it was easy enough to get the extra crit damage running, and it actually performed really well, but there is a little bit of a choice on this final slot if you want it. So when all is said and done, what do I think of the Hystrix? Is it good? Is it worth the cost of building it? You know what? This thing is actually really good. You've seen it shredding enemies left, right and centre in the background this whole time, and that's level 80 plus with no problem whatsoever. It really is pretty good, especially if you go for the Toxin proc and just stack damage over time on anything in sight. Combine that with crit after crit, and the Toxin procs being affected by that crit, it can do a serious amount of damage. The problem is that while the weapon itself genuinely is good, the usability of it can feel rather rough to me. Constantly and consistently having to reload drove me slightly insane. I have to admit, I almost dropped Sharpened Bullets for Prime Slip Magazine, or even Quick Draw to relieve some of the frustration from constantly reloading. The best thing is though that the Hystrix is so strong, you can actually afford to drop it, or drop that mod for some quality of life if you want it. If you're only using this for a weapon to spread procs around for your condition overload melee though, you could drop Sharpened Bullets for another dual stat elemental, because you could run combined element like Viral, then you've got the single element like maybe Heat or something, and then whatever you're using on the weapon as well. So honestly, that means you could proc Viral, Heat, Cold, Impact, Puncture or Slash, and that allows a huge variety of procs to be going on, really stacking those separate procs from condition overload to go to town on. But the thing is, the Hystrix is good. Not everybody is going to enjoy it, but I think it's worth investing the former into. It totally justifies needing the fully built Bolto and Viper in its construction. It performs really well, and honestly it's going to deal with any content you want to throw it into. Give it a go, I think it definitely deserves a look. So I thank you all for watching. More videos coming soon, but for now, I shall catch you in the next one.